Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. Got a bit of a.
Yeah, sister,
Can
we
you hear?
can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So today we thought we'll discuss. I think you read this Murli a couple of days ago. The title was "How to Follow Brahma Baba: The 5 Steps of How We Can Follow Brahma Baba." It was dated the 20th of January, 1990 originally. You know, when I first saw the title before reading it, I found it very interesting to have, because, follow Father Brahma. That's one of the main things I suppose, as a BK, that's one of our main concerns or, main efforts that we want to make, or how I can do things is the easy way to do it is to follow Father Brahma. And then to have 5 steps written like that. I found it very, I was very curious, what would those 5 steps be? Because there are obviously, when they say follow Father, follow means in every step. So there are so many things we can follow. But to have 5 points written like that, and I read it and I read it and I read it many times. And a few days ago, I read it. And for some days, over the last 3-4 days after I read it, this word obedience, it kind of, sometimes it just is like keeps coming in your mind again and again. So it's like obedience, obedience. And And then I kept thinking, what does obedience actually mean to me? And then what would it mean from a point of view or the perspective of how what does obedience mean to Baba? We are all obedient, by and large, as a society, human beings are obedient in the sense, even basic things like, looking after our bodies, looking after the local laws of how the world runs. We try and not break any laws. Try and stick to the speed limits, try and stick to the basic overall functioning of the society and the way the world wants it to work. But what is obedience what is the definition of obedience? What does it make me? How does it make me a Brahmin? By following the steps of Father Brahma. So obedience for Baba meant, when I was reading it, there's very subtle things, but very deep things when Baba says, and obedience. And then I think there was a word where Baba said to be an instrument, to be an instrument. So how to be an instrument for Baba? To be an instrument for Baba. We all do, we try and do the 4 subjects, as Baba has said, Gyan, Yoga, Dharna, and Seva. But how to be an instrument in each one of those is something that I wanted to churn together with all of us. So before we do that, I wrote down, just maybe we can, I know we've all read the Murli and probably revised it as well. Maybe we can go through the points together
Yeah,
before this
sure.
shuts down. Okay. So Baba was saying, obviously, Baba loves everyone in the world. Baba loves everyone in the world, but then Baba wrote, what makes few souls more special is the love and the closeness they feel. And I don't know if that was Baba saying he feels the love and closeness for us, or is it the way we emit? So we feel a lot of love and closeness. So how do I bring about that love and closeness? How can I love? We all say we love Baba. I don't know if there's at least BKs we can talk about. I don't know if there'll be any BKs that will say I don't love Baba. But what makes my love a little bit more special, or a little bit more closer towards what Baba wants me to be? What would love actually be? And for that, Baba said to be loving and to close is to follow the Father. And then he wrote down he listed those 5 points. And the first one was to be a renunciate. Now, renunciate can be a heavy word for some people. We don't like to renounce. And on the other hand, for some people, it's a lovely word. Wow, I can renounce the things I don't like. I can renounce the things I no longer need. And I think for most of us, most BKs, it was a lot of the things that Baba, even physical locking things like don't eat that, don't do that. It was very much a sigh of relief. Is that true for a lot of us? Baba said you don't have to get involved in every argument. You don't have to, I think the way the world sees it, you have to prove your worth. You have to prove every point. It's like you're constantly in like a court case, in even normal little things, someone says, oh, this happened, and they'll be like, no, no, but I Googled it, this happened. And they're like, no, no, but, even little things like that. People like to get stuck on I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. That's what arguments really are. And, to the point that they start breaking our relationships and the way we see life. It changes. It warps the way we live and experience life. So even for something like that, Baba says to have good wishes, to have pure feelings. And I think that's like an added sort of so the first layer, when Baba says, don't get involved in arguments, you don't have to prove your worth. I love you. You are a deity soul. You don't have to prove anything to be your worth. Because even if you break down even small little arguments when we're trying to prove that I know more, I am worthy, I should be respected. So I'm trying to prove it to the other person. And Baba flips the whole equation and says, you don't have to prove anything because you already are. And if you forget that you already are, I know, and I'm reminding you, and I assure you. So Baba gives me that assurance that even if I don't believe myself to be worthy, to be myself to be right, nobody in the world thinks I'm right. Everything I say is not taken seriously. People dismiss me. That happens, doesn't it? That's why I try and go and prove, want to be, that's what even children do now. You tell them, do this, and they say no. Especially now children, I think that's kind of I don't know. I only know the children from today. Maybe we all did that. The moment you say anything, the first thing is no, no, no. So, internally, subconsciously, that some way the soul doesn't feel valued enough, or it doesn't feel like it has enough say in stuff. It doesn't have enough authority. It does not have enough freedom. It's always being told. And, we see that more in children because kids have to be told a lot of things. They don't know even the basic, put your hand in fire, will get burnt. If you do this, this will happen. If you take a knife, you can cut yourself. If you run too fast on concrete, you may fall and slip. And so, little things like that children have to be told. But even as adults, so I wouldn't say it's like they're not being against it, but some way the soul doesn't feel respected enough, loved enough, and feeling like they don't have a right to acknowledge their own worth. So the no comes, and that's when the arguments start. So Baba really says renounce, renounce, renounce. And renounce not just at the surface level. So I'm not saying yes and then being bitter after that. My renunciation comes with a lot of self-worth. It's not an empty, hollow renunciation, A lot of, even if we talk superficially, my lifestyle has changed, my clothing has changed, my food has changed, my relationship has changed. All of us have done that. We do that. And a lot of us do that with a lot of relief, I think. A lot of the BKs do it with the relief that, thank God, I don't have to deal with this anymore. Some do it with a little bit of a heaviness, that it's not easy. It's not so easy for them. But it should not be an empty renunciation. It should not be an empty no. If I fill myself with Baba, the self-respect, the blessings, the love that Baba says, then that actually does not mean anything really. What I'm letting go is not actually letting go. So then I can check myself. Did I let anything go, or did I fill myself up? And Baba says that a lot in the Murli. But I have to really feel what Baba is trying to fill me with. This morning when I was sitting in, we just finished our Murli class, and then Baba, and he often talks about being an embodiment. So to follow Father Brahma, because Baba was an embodiment, and he showed the example of being every single thing or element or virtue that Shiv Baba thought was possible. And Brahma Baba could show that by being an embodiment of it. A lot of us do. We all know I'm Every BKs and so many other souls in the world use the saying Om Shanti. Who in the world doesn't say, I need peace? Who in the world doesn't say, I like peace? Everyone is like that. Everyone is like that. But what sets us our degree of power, I suppose, the degree of power, the difference in all of us is how much we value it and experience it. And again, no one in the world would say, I don't value peace. No one will say, I don't value happiness or love. No one will say that. But what makes, so Baba brings the difference between knowing something, wanting something, and intellectually wanting, and knowing it's correct for me. And I know I need it and I want it and I search for it. But what makes us separate, or what made Brahma Baba the number one example, was that he actually became that. And he became that not at just the easy times. He didn't become peaceful just at 2 a.m. Most of us have lovely experiences at 2 a.m. Most days, some days we might not. But then when we come into, say, a conflict, we all come in conflicts, or at least conversations, connections, words. Sometimes you make a mistake, knowingly, unknowingly. Sometimes you want to push a boundary. How much do I value peace at that time? How much do I value something that I tell myself I value, peace, for example, that I told myself I love waking up at 4 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever, to feel that peace? Do I still value that at 3 p.m. in the middle of a very heated argument that either, just happened because of, can happen for many sorts of reasons, but how much do I value peace then? And I think this is where Murli really empowers us, is when we're in the middle of stuff, reminding myself the points of Murli to go, okay, this is how Baba wanted me to use it. It is not a punishment. It is not, you can think of it as a karmic cleansing, karmo ka khata khatm ho raha hai. We can think of it like that. But a wiser person, or, a more joyful way of seeing it is just something to test me a little bit more. You can say, I've got karmic bondages. We all do. We all do. We all got a bit of moh and a bit of attachment and a bit of greed and a bit of all of that. So you can either see it as, old karma, my old sanskars coming up, or you can just see, okay, Baba said I am already that. So my baseline shifts from being this arrogant, viceless, egoful person to just being, okay, Baba said I am a deity. Now let me work through all the chapters and all the verses that ensure that I am that 100%. So following Baba, being obedient, being an instrument, not just while I am doing a class, not while I am doing this this very, we know what BK service is, right? When you go to the center, you do the dishes, you do the vacuum. When you're giving a class, when you're giving the course, when you give, in the train, you give somebody the pamphlet, that's BK service. You're being the instrument. So at that time, you invoke Baba. You go, okay, Baba, this is your child. It's easy to do that. Baba's saying bring that about in every single action of yours. Am I still able to be a BK when I'm out and about in the shopping center? I don't have to, you're welcome to, but you shouldn't have to have the facade of white clothes with a badge. And that really helps. I'm not saying discount any of that, but when you're in the middle of, you're a no one and you're not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be, you're not a titular BK as per se. What values do I bring about in the way I deal with people, the way I interact with them? Am I still able to, I when we start off, we give each other drishti. Am I still able to give that drishti when I'm in a line, when I'm driving, when I'm in a traffic jam, when I see a beggar on the street, or when I see my maid, or when I see, I'm going to the grocery and I've from the sabji wala, am I still able to imbibe all of that? So being an instrument is a full-time, it's a 24-hour job. So to follow Father is that sort of connecting what Baba wants and how he wants us to bring it about in our lives. Because one is to have it intellectually and one is to have it in part of my life, and in part of my life, not just as an intellectual, as a brain exercise. It's not something that I just need to think about. Peace is not something that I just turn on. Of course, that's a very good starting point. I need that, because how else will I know? I need that yoga time, and I need that murli to give me that power. But when I'm also going about my day, because there's 24 hours in a day, how many of us can sit down in yoga? 2, 4, 8 hours? Some of us do long bhatti, some of us can. However long we do, it's still not 24 hours. So to be a full-time yogi, Baba used to many times, Brahma Baba, he says, Sada Nirantar Yogi. He was given that key. He was always yogi. So what does that mean? What does that mean to be always to be a yogi? You can't just sit down and shut off from the world, can you? Maybe you can for a month. Many, I think Buddhists, they do that. Jains, they do that. Many monks are able to do that. But still, for how long? You still have to come into action, because the main crux of what Baba teaches us, he always says karma yoga, karma yoga, karma yoga. Yoga is so important, so important, so important. It's so important because that's the original me, the soul sitting in Param Dham by myself. That's the original me. But I am also an actor. So after just being a pure soul, actionless in my inert state, full state, I'm very blissful, very powerful. I go back home and I am peaceful, and I sit equal to Father Shiva, equal to God. I sit there peacefully. That's my yoga. After that, I have to come starting from Satyug, hopefully starting from the very, 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 very start of Satyug. Hopefully I have that much power and that much energy and that much zeal that I want to come. So after that, my karam starts. So I need the balance. Baba always says I need the balance of both. So bringing that about into being a renunciate, the number one point was to be a renunciate. And then how did Baba we were talking about being obedient. So Baba, obedient to be an instrument in every breath, in every moment, in every word, in every connection, in everything I do, all of that, in every relationship. So I have to start bringing about those. And I think it's just a matter of observing myself. Baba kehte chart. It's a matter of just observing myself, because all of us have a lot of virtues. We have done so much work. Even if you've been working on yourself for a 1 day BK, that 1 day has transformed you. So even every second counts. It's not about how many hours or how many years I give it. It's what's the word I would say? It's how diligent, I suppose, I am, how dedicated I am to transforming that. And I think that also takes a lot of courage as well, because I see myself at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I am so peaceful. I am so loving. I love everyone. I can give every vicious person, every bad relationship, I can give them Sakash, very nicely at 3 a.m. But when I come, and even if it's like a little have this, don't have that, chat with someone and I'm in a relationship, they say, oh, I'm cutting carrots. Okay. They say, cut it in squares, not lengthwise. And my ego, the way I know it, says no, but if I cut it lengthwise, I know it cooks better, blah, 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 blah. That happens, right? So even for something little like that, my ego wants to put myself correct. I want to say, I want to tell myself, no, I am correct because this is the right way to do it. And I want to dismiss the other person. And then I give myself reasons, because it will cook better, because the broccoli is cut a certain way, because, well, I'm making the dish. There's so many reasons I can give myself. But for a little practical, little example like that, maybe that's the time I need to bring about a virtue. It does not always necessarily mean I need to change what I am doing, but I definitely have to change. What do I have to change? What do I have to change? Not necessarily my action, but I have to change my thinking. I have to try something new. If I've not tried something new, if I have not brought about a newness in me, and we were talking about newness the last time I was also here, it is stopping yourself in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of not a grand disaster, because we are good at that, right? When I'm having a huge blown out argument or a disagreement with someone, then I can go, yes, Baba, help me, Baba, Murli point, help me, Baba. But if it's something, just a little simple thing, okay, I'm just driving down the road, no red light, nothing, just a normal drive, very normal. In the middle of it, I remind myself, okay, let me stop my thinking, happy control as we call it. Let me stop myself and say, what am I thinking? Can I change something the way I am doing it? Because we are used to being body conscious, and Baba's been saying that a lot lately. Do you need to practice body consciousness? No, because it has been so natural to me for 2,500 years, and that's a long, that's many, many, many years of practicing, isn't it? 2,500 years of practicing something. That's many, many years. And, and then every kalp I do it. And many, 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 many times I do it. So how many times have I practiced being body conscious? So I know I am body conscious now. I know. So my way of thinking, my way of speaking, everything, the way I act is body conscious. The way I relate, the way I am in relationships, it is body conscious. It is body conscious. So I have to take enough courage, and I have to be snappy enough and, have enough zeal to go, okay, let me break this mundane little thing and see how I assume that it's body conscious. How can I make it soul conscious? How can I bring about something different? And having that, I guess, courage and having that zeal throughout the day to go, okay, I'm going to try something new. Okay, I'm going to try something new. I don't have to wait for a disaster to hit me. I don't have to wait for an earthquake to hit my house and, destroy everything I have. I don't need to have bad relationships. I don't need to have a bad health. I don't need any of these karmic suffering. A lot of us go through that naturally anyway, because, it's the end of Kali Yuga and a lot of things come up. It's going to happen anyway. But I shouldn't need that for me to go, let me try something new. Every day I wake up, it's a normal little day. Okay, I brush my teeth, get showered, dressed, read Murli, do this. It's a normal little day. What newness can I bring in that? And I think traffic controls are definitely one of the best things that Baba's introduced. So to stop you in the middle of your normal, whatever your normal is, you're in the middle of, eating something, stop. How can I change that? How can I bring about more purity in this? How can I bring about more Baba into my life, more truth in this? How can I break away from the wave of what I'm already doing? Because I probably am being body conscious from the way, I mean, we can all decide for ourselves, but I think the way we live our lives, it is pretty body conscious, or at least switched off, that we're not on top of stuff in a soul conscious way. Okay, I'm just going to take a pause because I can see there's a couple of comments. Okay, so we've got true surrender means nothing remains separate from Baba. Before every action, ask, is this Baba's thought or my thought? Am I acting as an instrument or the owner? Yes, Sister Ami, that is very that's I mean, it's very powerful, isn't it? True surrender means that nothing is separate from Baba. So, that includes sorry, on my phone, so it's a bit wibbly wobbly. It also includes my actions. It also includes my weaknesses. It also includes my limited thinking. I have to surrender that as well. I have to, because I think we can get past a lot of our stuff, a lot of our karmic bondages, and a lot of our other stuff. But when it comes to my internal sort of bad talk that I give to myself, or the sorrow that I give myself, how harsh I am to myself, that's where I start losing my self-respect. I see my vices, okay, I got angry. Or even, not even angry. We were just talking that I live my life just being very mundane. You know, I'm kind of just living life on a switched off way. I'm not very switched on to what Baba wants. So even for something like that, I judge myself. So the moment I judge myself, or I do, I acted out of an old sanskar, or there was a vice in me, there are many, I drop down from my self-respect. The moment I judge myself, the moment I talk bad to myself, the moment I guilt myself, how could I do this? Well, you've been doing this, you told yourself to do this, and how can you still make this mistake? That usually leads me to losing my self-respect, at least at that moment. You know, at Amrit Vela, I hype myself, don't we? We hype myself. Baba says, Main Sarv Shaktivan. I have all the virtues. I am the most powerful. Baba tells me, you're the one who transformed the world. So I keep this very beautiful self-awareness and self-respect with me. But when I come and I do a little mistake, I I lose that. I forget that. That's why Baba says, I've given you all the jewels, but you don't play with them enough. So I forget and I lose and I drop down from that. I was listening to a Janki Dadiji class yesterday. It was a very short one on how Mama inspired everyone to become Mama. So in that, she also mentioned Dadi Prakashmani. So she said, you know, when Baba says you are vicious, I come at the end of the kalpa to make you. So the baseline is you are body conscious. You know that you have voices. You know you are, this is the most vicious you can be. So you are that, right? So that includes Baba also, right? The Brahma Baba was also like that. Mama was also like that. Not my vices, but they had their own lowest, this is the lowest power they could be at that time. They still kept their self-respect high. So she was giving the example of Dadi Prakash Mani ji. So Janki Dadi said, personally, she said, Mujhe thoda time laga. So she's saying, it took me a while to learn what self-respect is and to bring myself in that stage of constantly being in self-respect. But she said, I saw Dadi ji always in self-respect. So they also had a similar journey. Again, we're not comparing vices. You know, she won't have the same vices I have. Of course, you know, they are so high up, but they also had vices according to their stage, right? So they also had to go through and run through that, but they never, she said, she never lost her self-respect. So follow Brahma Baba. He also had to go through so much stuff, but he never lost the sight. I'm being taught by the one. The one said, you are number one soul. Baba said that to me as well. So whatever I need, whatever Murli point I need to hype myself, Baba said, you are that. Baba said, you are that. Not to come down whilst I am in action. I will pause again. Maybe we need to.
Adnan sister,
Hanji.
you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, sister.
No, just one, because you said we can churn in between. When you spoke about the renunciate and all, that was my first question on the chat box. Like, you gave one example. I liked that word, breakaway. How much I've broken away from what? From relationships, from the world, from myself, and all. The sign of a practical renunciate. Because we have gone through this renunciate, if you know, the 1982 Murlis was just on total renunciate. So there Baba speaks of Dani, Mahadani, Great Dani, and Sampurna Dani. So I always remember one word, which I don't know which Dadi I said, Main kaun, mera kaun. I think that one thing, if I remember who am I and whom I belong to, then it narrows down to say, oh, it's only so much, only this, only that. And then it comes. So that's what I just wanted you to just give that crux of the thing to be. That's what Sampurna, that Brahma was. But he became a total renunciate even before Sampurna Brahma when he built. So if before you go to the next point, if you could just throw a little light on this, Main kaun, mera kaun.
Yeah, that renunciate point was something that really hit me actually. And not just the first time I read it, every time I read it. every time I read it, I'd go, wow, that's what Baba actually means. So, I mean, the couple of words that I picked up was that Baba said to renunciate. Obviously, a lot of things, you don't have to, but he naturally renounced because that's just the state he went into. The state of mind just flipped for him. So he went into, this is what I need to do. But to actually be renunciate to Baba is just to renounce your mind and your intellect. And that's what I was kind of referring to before when we was talking about throughout your day when you're doing maybe big tasks, maybe big decisions, maybe big arguments, or maybe just a normal running of your day and not doing huge little anything that needs a lot of anything. Where is my mind connected to? So renunciating right now, I just anyway, so I'm sitting in front of a beautiful river. Is my mind connected to the beauty of this river, which is pretty? It's very nice. It's nature, which we all love. There's no vice in that, right? But is my mind connected to this Kalyugi beautiful river, or is it more invested? What's the other option? Is it more invested in Baba? Where is my mind more attracted to? Because there's no vice in looking at this beautiful view, is there? There is no vice in driving a beautiful, expensive car. There is no vice in having a healthy body. But is my mind connected, invested? We understand, right? Is it invested in enjoying that, or is it invested in myself? Is it invested in the soul? Is it invested in the journey of me and Baba? What can God give me? Where is my investment? Where is my attraction? Where is my laga? Where do I run to? Mind and also intellect. So right now we are talking, we are churning, we are thinking. A lot of the times and BK traps are very subtle. Baba says that we can, renounce, perhaps a lot of us don't even actually do that. We are still talking about the politics. We're still talking about the politicians. I don't know, whoever Modi is and how good he is, how bad he is. Is my intellect invested in him being the transformer of the world, him being right, and still arguing on that? Or where am I using my intellect? Sometimes we get, and even as a BK, if you're not doing these worldly cricket matches and whatever, the glam world, whatever, pink lipstick or red lipstick, I don't know if you're what the world argues about. Am I more, is my intellect more busy in just still again proving myself right? So for example, we're discussing the Murli. Sometimes we're in a classroom. Murli or Seva is that where it really comes about. Someone says, do it this way, and someone says, do it like that. And I say, well, no, this is the right way to do it. And, it is not about being right or wrong, because many times, say if I've driven down this road 20 times. So I know from A to B, there are 10 traffic lights. So let's avoid this path and go another path which only has one, and there'll be less traffic at this time. So for example, I know this through the experience of the last 10 years, this is the right way to do it. And someone else says, no, this is the path I want to go. Does my mind automatically, my ego automatically come in and say, no, I'm right. And then I start proving myself right. There's a way. So again, it's not about the words or the actions that I do. It's more about how do I feel at that time? Do I feel, and it's very subtle. You won't feel belittled because of the way their words are, which some people, if you're being very much on the surface, the words can hurt you. Maybe they're being strong or they're being harsh and they're forcing you to do it. That's on a very physical level. That's on a very upper level. But we want to go even deeper. So the more I force someone, or the more I want to assert, no, but I know, I've been driving down this road for 10 years. I know this is the right way to do it. Does that example kind of resonate? And this is just an example, because these kind of emotions and these kind of, the way I assert, it blanket kind of fills in each pocket of our life. I always want to tell that I am right, whether it's I'm bringing up a child or whether it's I'm doing a work project, and it might be the correct way to do it. It is the correct way to do it. But am I able to hold back? Am I able to hold back my vice and my ego, I suppose, because I value self-respect more? Because the moment that happens, say for example, they were throwing tantrums and blah blah, and we said, okay, we'll go your route, which ended up taking 20 minutes longer, and we got there. And the moment we get there, what does my ego say? See, I told you. See, I told you. I still need to prove that I am right to that person. So once they validate it, that's when I will say, okay, and then my self-respect will rise. Then my self-respect will rise. That's a very body conscious way to do it, and it's a very long-winded way to do it. Because what we are working on is not saving those 20 minutes in a traffic jam, which is important. I'm not dismissing that. But what we as BKs are working on is my self-respect, regardless of the situation. Because why did the situation come? Not because of the situation. It came to teach me that even when I'm right, even when I am wrong, I can hold my self-respect because it is my original sanskar, because Baba said it is, because it comes in the Murli. You bring about those becauses in you, but you maintain your self-respect throughout the day. Did that example make sense, or was it a bit too far stretched?
Yeah, sister. Yeah, thank you. Um, the renunciate, right? So I was also thinking about another way, like becoming a true renunciate. So in this case, we look at Brahma Baba was a wealthy person, and he was a very respected person in the society, and he had everything. Right. So, someone who has everything and renouncing that, isn't it a great deal than somebody who doesn't have anything and coming forward and saying that I'm renouncing? But someone who has everything and renouncing that, not to take anything from that, right? That has more value than somebody who doesn't have anything and saying I'm renouncing because I realized Baba, so it's time to renounce.
Time to renounce.
Eh,
um,
eh,
I think
Yeah,
again it depends. I mean that is a beautiful point. It can be that, I suppose. But the definition of everything is very subjective. So
but
my
here the
everything might be
yeah, but here the renunciation that Papa means is the I, right? Mainly the I consciousness, the ego, right? And then
yes.
you see Brahma Baba even after renouncing everything that he has, he never had a thought that it's because of my money the yajna is going. It is, my money is used. He never had that thought, even a single thought, right? So that itself is a great thing, right? So even we take it, even if we do something for the yajna, it's natural that that sort of a thought come. Okay, I did this, in on a light way it will come, right? But
Yes, yes.
Baba, but Baba, even after doing so much, and uh, Shiva Baba says Brahma Baba never had that thought. So I'm
Mm.
thinking to reach that sort of a stage where we, renounce and then not to have even single thought. I don't know. Is it possible for somebody who's normal?
Yeah. It is normal because we are on the path to following Brahma. As a BK, I cannot experience anything that my father has not experienced. Baba has said that in the Murli, right? So I think the only difference why we have that number wise is the amount of courage I take. So if I, for example, say I have given $100 to the yagya, and I think, wow, and sometimes I even see that money, that value, that virtue I've given being used in a practical way, and I go, wow. Sometimes you pop up at the right time, do the right thing, and go, wow, it served so many people. Sometimes even that happens. So you can say it's normal for you to feel validated, but it's also normal for you to go beyond that. So once you know that you've got that vice now, and that's body conscious, hopefully we know that that is body conscious. So Brahma Baba, I don't know if he ever had that thought, because I don't know how the how the Ashratan and Brahma Baba, maybe they had those vices like a touch of them to the percentage. We feel it very, very largely. Wow, I did that for the yagya. And that's where probably Maya, when Baba says, Maya comes in very sneaky ways, because I feel I've done something and I've seen the result. I've done something, I've gone and chopped the vegetables, and it's served 100 people. So I can see the result of that. But then I have to go beyond that. That is my purusharth. My renunciation is, and Baba also used the very beautiful word. And we're going on to often different tangents as well. That Baba in the Murli, Baba said the word Haji. So his renunciation was the word Haji. It was not, again, it's not about judging the vice I have. It is not bringing myself down and say I will never become like Brahma Baba because I feel so good that I have given donation or whatever. No, my part is, okay, I observe that I have that vice, and that is a vice, even though it doesn't really sound like a vice. It is a body conscious element. I accept that I have that. My practice is not based on that. Now I practice being soul conscious. How did Brahma Baba live his day-to-day life? How did he go about his day? So I've given that donation. Maybe I feel that, but I put a full stop there. And I want to minimize that, not by guilting myself or suppressing myself, because that again is a very negative energy, right? If I constantly guilt myself or I constantly judge myself, how can I feel so good having donated? That's a negative energy. So from something negative, something positive obviously takes a lot more effort. So I just want to keep myself, my soul on a higher self-respect. So whatever self-respect Baba has given me, I keep pouring the oil in that. I've got that lamp, and I want to keep pouring the ghee in my self-respect, in my higher self stage, in the vision Baba has for me, the way Baba sees me, the way I would be in number one level, the way I would be in Param Dham. So I want to keep putting the oil in that. Because body consciousness, this world is filled with those vibrations. I don't need to give any oil to that. That will automatically happen. And I have 63 births of experience. No one can shake that. So my Purusharth, my traffic control, my Murli, my Amrit Vela, my day-to-days, just random stops, I need to bring those about by just feeling power, 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 power in that. And once I have enough power, what happens to the weak things? Kind of just, when autumn comes, the leaves automatically fall off. And Baba says there's a dark room, just a flicker, one little matchstick. What happens? You don't need to take away the darkness. So my focus, my love for life has to be the way Baba sees it. It cannot be based on my vices, because I have vices. We all have vices. Everyone in the world had, except Shiv Baba is the only one who does not. Even Brahma Baba had. I'm not saying the degree, but he had vice, but he did not focus his life on that. And in the Murli, Baba also goes on about, how much everyone opposed him. Everyone said, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, and his vice, everything. But he kept his aim, the one. Ek bal, ek bharosa, one support, one strength. He put his focus on that. And that's what made him fly. Because his focus throughout the day wasn't, some police is standing outside my door and this is gonna happen. So he did not waste his emotions in that. He still had to deal with it. If you've got stuff that you need to deal with, you will obviously need to address and write letters and, go to the appropriate authorities. But he did not waste his emotions. His emotions was self-transformation. Everything that happens is for my benefit. So he did not waste his life energy, because emotions are a lot more powerful, right? You can be writing a stern reply letter to a court case somebody's done on you, and it could be very wrong. It's always wrong. So you can invest your whole life, your emotions, your vibrations in that, or you can just say, okay, I need to write a letter, very, um, very theoretically, on a very, okay, I need to do this, like very cold, like, okay, I'm just doing this letter, but my emotions, my value, my life is invested in, wow, Baba has come to transform me. Not, oh my God, I have to deal with this stupid person who's unfair to me. Why does he keep bothering me? And why does he keep sending me these, letters of law? My emotion is not there. I am very indifferent to what is happening. I do what I need to on a physical level, but my emotion is, wow, Baba's made me a BK. Wow, Baba's come to transform my life. So that is renunciation that Baba wants. He does not want you to leave anything. He wants you to leave, I suppose, the attraction of Maya. Let me hate that person. Let me invest my energy. No, you love Baba. That is your true renunciation.
Salman sister, when you were saying about Brahma Baba had that Lakshya, we should take one important foundation. When Shiv Baba struck him and told him, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Shiva and all, he was already given the complete picture of his role of becoming Narayan, and he is the only one, even at the age of 60. So you see, this person, like a product, he was given a warranty and a guarantee. So that warranty and guarantee, each one of us
Yes.
do not get. So we should understand when we are highlighting Brahma's role over there. But for me, that's not important because there has to be a beginning, there has to be a role model, there has to be somebody. So I just take it like
Yes.
that. But even though I take it like that, you must see in the Murli, there were many other things, like big heart. I liked all that. Like Baba has a big heart, you should have a big heart. And there was a new term. First time, we say Begum Purke Befikar Badshah, but over here Baba had used the word unlimited emperor. I like that word also. And I was thinking about what is it, because every term which Baba uses in this Murli, it was a little bit different. And none but one. And how to become equal. And I like this word abundance. When Baba used the word,
Mm.
there is a, I remember going through a 21-day course somewhere on abundance. How do you reach abundance? How do you be? We call it as a biggie heart, or how to
Mm.
be an unlimited householder, where you think locally, but you act globally. So even these are the things which really, and merging mine into yours. It was something like a pativrata. See, if you know, on 18th January, we very devotionally read those 18 steps, action steps, follow steps. We do all that. But how much of it, how much of even one point of Brahma Baba have we really imbibed, I think? I go through each point. Your checkpoint, today, really one thing which I'll take away is that I always like this news, breaking news. But when you said
Mm.
break away, how much I have broken away from everything. That checkpoint, you said you're looking at the river, but am I really looking at the river, or am I thinking beyond that? River is beautiful, no doubt. But there's something else which I'm interested more than the river, going beyond. Thank you.
And I think that's probably what set Brahma Baba apart. Many of us, we can't all live in Madhuban. Most of us have been, I think all of us have been. But when you go to that Baba ki kutia, you can feel those vibrations. You don't want to leave. I don't know how many, well, I know how many times I've, not maybe physically even cried, I don't want to leave Madhuban, I don't want to leave Madhuban. But that is not just my journey. To love and to have that, to experience that depth is very, very important, which we all feel at time and again when we're meeting Baba, when we're at Amrit Vela. We feel that again and again. But my journey, my life journey, is to be able to create that in the middle of a very ruckus. There's a fight, there's a war going on. Am I able to create, or am I able to invoke Baba the same way? How much am I able to remember Baba? So it's a balance of bringing all that about into my life. And I also want to actually ask everyone, you brought a beautiful point that Brahma Baba had the visions. So that he only had the visions once for the establishment. And I think it was essential at that time because there was no vibration of Satyug, there was no vibration of Paramdham at all. So it was probably essential for, I mean, I can't comment on the way Shiv Baba works because I know it's beyond I cannot comprehend what Shiv Baba's thinking is in everything, but it was probably essential to kind of bring about, those visions to kind of get the spark started, because otherwise, what would they know? But Brahma Baba started from zero. He created that vibrations we go through now in when we go to the kutia. They came after his years of tapasya. So am I able to create the same? And sister beautifully brought out the point. He had the visions and he was told he's going to be number one. I want to ask all of us, was I also told that, or was it just Brahma Baba that got told that you are number one through the visions? Can we please unmute and say, have you been told that, just as a yes or a no?
I think he, I
Well,
think,
I was not told, if you ask me honestly, that you're the chosen one. But for me, it's found God. That's the one thing I've chosen. You were searching for me, I found you. But till now, I don't
No, I
feel
just want to know about. Okay, that's fair.
no. You
Anyone
can
else?
say it's not an absolute no, but I don't know. I'm somewhere in between. I can't
Okay,
answer
okay.
you perfectly
No,
yes or
that's fine.
perfectly no.
That's okay, sister. I just want to know what everyone feels, just as human curiosity. Someone else was saying something.
yeah, I also feel no.
No. Okay. I don't want to get into personal lives and what number you will be, but you don't feel like anyone else. There's no right or wrong answer. We're just discussing things. I mean, stuff I say doesn't mean it's correct. It's just we want to open up discussions and open up our minds on how we can maybe see things differently. Anyone else has a perspective on, can I be number one? What Baba has, what number, I suppose, if it's not number one, what
I
number
think I
has
am
Baba?
number one in my part.
You're number one in
The
your
part,
heart.
the
And
part
that's very
that I've been
nice.
given. Yeah. In my part, I'm number one.
Yes.
No one can copy my part. No one can, snatch it, or my part is fixed. That's number one. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's a very good answer, brother. Does anyone else want to comment as well?
Shanti
It's
sister.
okay.
And similarly, I feel I am better version of myself at times, and collectively, I am one among the best. So it's not like I am good or better. There are best people, but I range myself from good, better, best in my own life, and overall, I'm one of the best among the best.
Very good. See, I like that. I mean, welcome to keep jumping in if you like, because I honestly feel it's not, when we're making progress, when we're setting myself in my self-respect, that's not the time. Maybe that's perhaps where we use the word humble very incorrectly, because Baba says to be humble is to be in your self-respect. It is not a practice, because I think we feel shy saying we're number one because it can come across as arrogant. And it is not about arrogance. Being number one is not about arrogance. Evidently, because Brahma Baba was the most humble being. He's still waiting for us. He's still giving me the energy to become pure. He's still available for me. So the most humble. But he always kept the aim, I'm number one. He always kept the aim, I'm number one. God has said, you're the pure being. He always kept that aim. So that is what I need to follow. It is not what number I will be in the sense of what rosary and all of that. And I will maybe add that Baba says, you do the effort, I will make as many beads and rosaries as you want. So not getting my terminology confused, because this is I feel a very Kalyugi way of looking at stuff. This is not where I need to be humble. Not humble is not the right word. This is not where I need to stop myself, because that's being very arrogant when I say, well, I'm not number one. That's actually being arrogant. I'm not number one. So you've just told yourself, I'm not going to be what God is telling me. God is wrong. I'm not going to be number one. In Murli Baba says, you do the effort, you love me, you do what you need to. I will make sure you fit in where you need to. So again, it is not about getting the trophy of number one, number two, Lakshmi Narayan, what number, which year I'm gonna sit on the throne, but it is creating self-respect. God has said you are number one. He says that in every single Murli. He has not said good morning number one Brahma, Father Brahma, and then everyone else. No, he says the same Murli to Brahma, he says to me. That is not being arrogant. That is bringing myself up to my self-respect and say, God has said this is it. So this is where you bring about self-respect. I have to, at least in a BK environment, at least in my mind, of course I live in the world and I need to use the terminologies correctly. In Kali Yuga, I can't go around saying I'm transforming the world. I'm the one who's gonna finish all these vices. I don't need to say or have that arrogance, but I am doing the silent work here. I need to always hold that I am number one here. I don't need to give myself number 16, number 21, maybe 16,000, maybe, in maybe 9 lakhs. That's not where I put my effort. That is not for me to decide anyway. That's already prefixed wherever that is. When I'm living my life every day, doing my effort, I go, I am number one. When someone is saying you're wrong, I'm right, I'm having that argument, I say, no, he's a small child. I am the senior ancestor. I am the number one soul. I need to let them have their perspective on life. I need to let them have their way of thinking. That's where I stop the exchange and growth of bad energy. And I go back to my self-respect. I go number one, and I put that full stop there. Does that clarify what being number one, or does it bring about more thinking in us, what being number one can be?
Yeah,
Rather than
sister.
just
Yeah. And yeah, with the interest of time, I think we should move to meditation.
okay. Thank you, everyone. I've got a little, because it's Mother's Day today, so happy Mother's Day to everyone. I thought I'll just sing a
So,
30
sister,
Yeah.
second
love
song.
you. Love you. You are a beautiful mother.
Like our Father Brahma, we all are. So a big thank you to Father Brahma, Shiv Ma, and all of us world mothers. Okay. Om Shanti. So this was a little song I wrote when a newborn child is just born and how they will perceive their mother. And me, how I see Father Brahma and Father Shiva. Without a clue, I started watching you. In my mind, you're all I knew. Without a clue, I started watching you. In my mind, you're all I knew. I've seen you before. You helped me restore my vision and sight. You brought me to life, 'cause you're the one I realized that creating my life, you're my joy, you're my warmth, forever by my side. You were there when I called, my love shining so bright. You're divine, you're mine, forever by my side. Baby steps, how they lead the way. Holding my hand, you took me all the way. Sweet stories captured in your veil, gentle ways, the spirit of the tale. 'Cause you're the one I realized that creating my life. You're my joy, you're my warmth, forever by my side, forever by my side, forever by my side. Thank you. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Yeah, Ami Ben, over to you.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, sister, for the beautiful song. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Until then, have a lovely day.